Hey there riders, Moto Journo Chris here, and I wanted to have a quick chat today about seat height because it's a really important factor when you're picking your first motorcycle. Now, obviously the biggest thing is people are going to be looking at the actual seat height figure because that's the generic figure that everyone provides, and the lower the better. But there's a lot more to it than that because, you know, particularly if you're a shorter rider and you might be looking at a machine like this Z400 from Kawasaki. Now, naturally here, as you can see, it's got a nice low seat height. It's also got quite a sculpted seat as well, and that contributes to that nice low seat height because it's not just the seat height, it's actually the arc from where your foot touches the ground up to the middle of the seat. Now, for really short people, often they will shift off the side of the seat to give them a little bit more reach to the ground. And so, like I said, while that's fine, you don't want to be doing it too much because if you're right off the bike, it becomes a bit of a problem in slippery conditions. I'm going to give you an example of that. It's a little bit harder because for me, as you can see, the reach to the ground is pretty much perfect. But if you're really short, what you're going to do is you're going to move right off the bike to get that foot down, and that means the whole weight and the balance of the bike's being totally affected by how you're doing that. And that's fine because, you know, you should have the bike in a pretty good position like this. However, when things go wrong, they're going to go quite wrong, which is obviously a problem. Now, the seat, it's really important that the seat height is kind of right for you, but also that this section through here isn't too wide, because once you've looked at seat heights, there can be a heap of bikes with exactly the same seat height, but then what it comes down to is how narrow the bike is between the legs, and that is what also creates that arc to the ground, which is, you know, kind of the better measurement of how high the seat is. So jumping off, I'm just going to grab the GoPro and demonstrate exactly what's going on here. Okay, so the seat height itself looks like a pretty simple kind of equation when you look at it. As you can see here, having a look at the seat height, it's just a simple height from the ground. However, what you will notice is in this situation here, you've got the paneling here, you've got paneling here, you've also got subframe, and then you've got the engine. Now, depending on what bike you're on, some bikes have a very wide engine and some have a lot of paneling and a very thick frame here. Whereas these learner bikes, in comparison, they're really narrow. And as you can see, that's sculpted down so that there's the most direct part down. And also, as you can see here with the line, you're not actually putting your foot down right where those pegs are, which causes problems as well. Now, you might be asking at this point, well, okay, so there's more to seat heights than just the height itself. What can I do about that? Well, it's really simple. You don't have to go test ride the bikes because I know for a lot of really new riders, you don't have the experience to just jump on someone else's bike and possibly pay a massive excess if something goes wrong. But it is a matter of going to your dealership, going to your bike shops and sitting on the bikes, because that's the only thing that's going to give you an idea of exactly what you're looking at and what suits you. Sitting on the whole variety of bikes, even ones that you may not be considering, that's what's going to make sure that you pick the right option at the end of the day. And there's a couple of other things to think about, like jumping on this bike here. Now, I've got my motorcycle boots on, which they've got a bit of a sole on them, and you can buy motorcycle boots with a taller sole so that you'll end up with you know, an easier reach to the ground again. On top of that, you can also thin down a lot of seats. Now on the Z400, I think it's as thin as it could possibly be. You can't take any more padding out of a seat like this, but that's something that you can consider. You can also get the suspension modified so that the bike is a little bit lower to the ground, but this should only be done by a professional. And I mean, you know, if you're looking for the lowest seat height, you can't go past a cruiser. All of the cruisers, even though they're quite wide generally between the knees, they're very low to the ground and they're very easy to get your feet down. And even though they are quite heavy bikes as well, they tend to hold that center of gravity really low. And I mean, that's another thing that you'll notice, which is a little bit related to the seat height. It's also how the bike holds that weight. And obviously, because I'm on one today, I'm going to recommend going and having a look at Kawasaki Z400. If you're looking for a naked bike, it's a really cool little machine. It's a nice low seat height. As you can see here, one of the things that stands out to me the most is that Kawasaki have, really designed this bike for a new rider. So you've got a nice narrow seat, a very easy reach to the ground, probably as small an arc from the ground up to the middle of the seat as possible, which is important. It's quite narrow between the knees as well, which makes it easy to hold on to and makes it feel light. It's got a nice low center of gravity, great overall balance, and that's what you're looking for in a learner bike. Anyway, hopefully that's given you something to think about on the seat height equation when you're looking for a bike, whether it's a first bike, a new bike, whatever. And stay safe out there on the roads. This is Motogenic Chris. Don't forget to sub, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll be back soon.